Gaelic Estelle, hello everybody. This is a part 2 to the video that I did last time where somebody asked me how I justified my prices and what services I was providing to different communities. I'm going to go over 3 things that my company is either doing or is going to do, and then the thing that I'm doing personally. So the first thing that I did is, or that I do, is I hold a percentage of every sale that I make and I put it into a fund. And that fund's there to either give discounts to people in communities who can't afford the products that I have. So typically, so far, that's been the books that I had made. And it's there, no questions asked. So if you need a discount, you can get a discount. And if you still can't afford it with a discount, I'll just give it to you for free. The second thing that I do is February 5th of last year. I think I'd been on my own for about a week. And I connected with a linguist based at a UBC. I met with them and I told them the products that I was making and how I was making them for kids who are ADHD or who have ADHD. I told them why I thought it was going to be more effective. And I told them that I wanted to run a study on it. The reason why I did that is, it's one thing for me to go to a community and say, hey, here are my resources and here's why I think that they're effective. And it's another thing to run a study on it and then have the report or research article afterwards just being publicly available for people who are interested. Because if I just tell somebody, hey, this is why I think it's effective, I would imagine that people would say, what are your qualifications? Like, who are you? Why are you talking to us? And so we have an application in to run a study on it. And I think we hear back in a couple more months. The third thing that I haven't done yet, but I want to do, is when my company grows some more, I want to set it up in a way where every position in my company is treated like an apprenticeship. I do better with hands-on learning. I think a lot of people with ADHD do better with hands-on learning. We don't really do well with the stereotypical way that education is handled. And so I like the idea of having a company where I can say, if you're passionate about helping Indigenous communities, and even if you weren't doing well in school, if you come to my company and you have an idea of what you want to do, we can put you in that position and we'll give you all the on-the-job training you need to make sure that you can succeed at it. And even if you don't know what you want to do, just come and you can try a bunch of different areas of the business, and whatever you seem to like the most or works the best with you, we'll put you in there and give you all the training you need to be able to fill that role. And then the fourth thing that I've done, this is the thing that I've done personally, is whenever I have free time, or as much as I can, I try to go to conferences and I do presentations on what I've learned about ADHD and the things that have helped me. Because I think there's a lot of undiagnosed ADHD in the Indigenous community, and I think a lot of people are struggling. And the position that I was in, I was fortunate enough to be able to have the time, the space, the energy, and the support to learn a lot about it. And so now I try to do as much as I can to pass that on. Back in October or November of last year, I had gotten enough orders where I put my order in. And so I was kind of waiting for my order to get manufactured and then get shipped here. And a bunch of presentations were coming up. Our conferences were coming up. And I took the time out of working on my business just to prepare for those presentations or those conferences. And I think if you had asked anybody who's experienced in business, hey, I've just had my first profitable month pretty much in 4 or 5 years. Should I take 2 months off to go work on these presentations to help teach people about ADHD? I think probably the resounding answer would be no. Probably focus on getting more sales. You literally just had your first profitable month. But on a personal level, it's important for me to get that information out there. And so whenever I can take time to go and talk about it, I will. And so those 4 things, the reason why I care about them is because each one of them comes from a personal thing that I've struggled with. The holding a percentage of every sale aside to give it to people or families or communities who can't afford it. That's because I came from a family that didn't have a lot of money. And when I thought about making resources, I imagined if there was a family like mine out there right now, and there was a single parent who was struggling to make rent and keep the kids clothed and fed, would I want to add to that stress? Or would I want them to have to make the choice of, am I able to afford language resources for my kid? And I don't think that should have to be a consideration. I don't think how much money you have, I don't think that should be the limiting reason why you can't learn your language. And so I wanted to make sure that when I was making a company, I took that into consideration. When I reached out to the linguist, like, my main goal is helping as many Indigenous people learn their languages as I can, because like I've sat on my couch by myself feeling like there was something wrong with me or broken because I couldn't even understand my own language. And I can't help that I've felt like that or I've gone through that, but what I can do is try to minimize the amount of people like that feel like that in the future. And so I just want more people to have more information when they're making their own language resources. The third thing is setting up the apprenticeship style in my own company. That's because I struggled at school, or like school didn't mesh well with me. But it doesn't mean that I wasn't intelligent or not passionate or not a quick learner. I just needed a learning environment that worked for me. I think there's a lot of Indigenous people that are like that. And so when I'm building my company, if I can build it in a way that it doesn't matter if you're good at school or not, here's an environment where if you are a hands-on learner, if you are neurospicy, here's a place where you can learn in a way that like fits with you. And then the fourth thing was spreading the information about the ADHD. I didn't have anybody to help me when I was younger on how to navigate having ADHD, or how to work on your motivation, and how to set up your environment in a way that works for you. And because I didn't have anybody to help me with that, if I can go out there and teach people, either in schools or in communities, how to do that for all of the young neurodivergent Indigenous kids, then I'm going to spend every moment that I can doing that, at least as long as I can still keep my business afloat. So it's kind of like a juggling act. I take as much time as I can. But yeah, those are the 4 things that I have done or I'm going to do in a way of giving back. So back to that person who ever asked me to justify my prices and asked me what I'm doing for Indigenous communities. Those are the things that I'm doing. So again, I still haven't heard back from you on the, how you justify your prices. But if you get a chance, let me know what you're doing for Indigenous communities out there.